I'd say the bottom line earnings numbers look pretty good. They were in line with our estimate, but they beat the street. But I'd say the most important metric we typically look at is retail sales, specifically U.S. retail sales, and those disappointed a little bit. U.S. retail was down about 6.4%. That's worse than the street was looking for, and it's a little bit worse than we anticipated as well.
And in terms of margin as a percent of revenue, we're looking now, what, it expected, what, 9 to 10%? Given the expected impact of tariffs, is that right?
Correct. Previously, it was 9.5 to 10.5%. They lowered that to between 9 and 10% to incorporate the expected tariffs and the fact that they're going to be absorbing all those costs. And
can we just talk about the tariffs and the battle? Is there anything in the report or that you want to be hearing on the call later on that particular issue in terms of the fight with President Trump?
Well, if anything, you talk about the bottom line beat here. I think some of it probably had to do with some buy ahead in Europe, right? This was a pretty well telegraphed tariff implementation. And so I think it's safe to say that both European consumers and European dealers bought motorcycles ahead of those tariffs going into place. And so, I don't think that's a lasting impact, obviously. I'd be curious to know just how much of the second quarter beat was a function of that. I guess bigger picture, I'd be curious to know just how quickly they think they can ramp production elsewhere so they're no longer paying those tariffs.
And are you a believer, by the way, if they ramp production elsewhere, that that's going to have an impact on sales, given the sort of American brand that Harley has historically represented?
It's a great question. Certainly, if they were to manufacture motorcycles elsewhere to be sold in the United States, that would be a terrible idea, and I think that would impact demand significantly. That's not what they're planning to do. I think it's an open question to some degree whether or not European customers care whether or not Harley-Davidson motorcycles are made in the U.S. or made in Asia, which is what it looks like is likely to be the case, either India or Thailand.
What's your expectation for this stock 12 months out?
I don't think there's a ton of upside. There's a whole lot of pressure on these guys right now. They've continued to tease that on June 30th, so next Monday, they're going to lay out an updated strategy on their longer-term plan to build a next generation of riders. I'd actually be encouraged by incremental cost efforts. Because I think the demand side of this equation has been under pressure for a long time. And I think the street is going to be, understandably skeptical that the demand creation efforts, the next round, I should say, of demand creation efforts are actually going to work.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.